Good evening. This is All India Radio. I'm Anubha Rohatgi and with me is Manoj Singh Rana with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi stresses on need to ensure timely rollout of 5G technology to empower millions of Indians. No major impact of Bharat Bandh in the country as normal life remains unaffected. Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar accuses opposition parties of misleading farmers on new farm laws. National COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 94.59%. Government says massive production of COVID-19 vaccine will start once scientists give green signal. And in cricket, Australia registers consolation win against India in final 2020 encounter in Sydney. Men in blue clinched 3-match series 2-1. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki doori for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has stressed on the need to work together to ensure timely rollout of the next generation 5G technology to leapfrog into the future and empower millions of people in the country. Mr. Modi was delivering the inaugural address at the virtual India Mobile Congress IMC today. Addressing the event, the Prime Minister gave a call to work together to make India a global hub for telecom equipment, design, development and manufacturing.
We have achieved much success in mobile manufacturing in India. India is emerging as one of the most preferred destinations for mobile manufacturing. We have also come up with a production-linked incentive scheme to promote telecom equipment manufacturing in India. Let us work together to make India a global hub for telecom equipment design, development and manufacturing. We are embarking on a plan to ensure that over the next 3 years, every village will have high-speed fiber optic connectivity. We have already linked up the Andaman and Nicobar Island with fiber optic cable.
Mr. Modi cautioned that due to technological upgradation, there is a culture of replacing handsets and gadgets frequently. He called for setting up of a task force to think of a better way of handling electronic waste and create a circular economy. The Prime Minister said that the digital potential of the country is immense. He said, with the help of mobile technology, the poor and vulnerable sections of the society have been provided help during the COVID-19 pandemic.
The digital potential of our nation is unparalleled, perhaps even in the history of mankind. Friends, it is because of mobile technology that we are able to provide benefits worth billions of dollars to millions of Indians. It is because of our mobile technology that we are able to help the poor and vulnerable quickly during the pandemic. It is because of mobile technology that we are seeing billions of cashless transactions which boosts formalization and transparency.
The Prime Minister said India will launch the world's biggest COVID-19 vaccination drive with the help of mobile technology. Appreciating the country's growth in the mobile and internet connectivity sector, Mr. Modi said India has billion-plus mobile phone users and 750 million internet users. He said half of the total internet users have been added in the last 4 years. He said it is important to think and plan how to improve lives with the upcoming technology revolution.
It is important to think and plan how do we improve lives with the upcoming technology revolution. Better healthcare, better education, better information and opportunities for our farmers, better market access for small business are some of the goals we can work towards. Friends, it is due to your innovation and efforts that the world was functional despite the pandemic.
The theme for IMC 2020 is Inclusive Innovation, Smart, Secure, Sustainable. It will be held till the 10th of this month.
There was no major impact of Bharat Bandh called by farmers' unions today as all market shops, banks, government and private offices besides other commercial establishments function normally across the country. Elaborate security arrangements were made in all states and union territories in the wake of the Bandh call. Transport and traffic were also functioning normal in cities like Delhi and Mumbai as police kept a tight vigil. The farmers' unions protesting against the new farm laws at the borders of the national capital had called for a nationwide strike between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. Normal life remained unaffected in most parts of the country, including Uttar Pradesh, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh and Jammu division, as shops and commercial establishments remained operational in these states, with transport plying normally on the roads. Himachal Pradesh Chief Minister Jairam Thakur termed the Bandh call, supported by all the opposition parties, as a complete failure. The Chief Minister said that the opposition leaders have failed to garner the support of common man, as people of the state know that agricultural laws enacted by the central government are beneficial for the farmers. Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan has criticized the opposition parties for protesting against the new agriculture reform laws, terming it as a double standards. Talking to AIR correspondent Pooja P. Vardhan in Bhopal today, the Chief Minister said these laws aim to empower the farmers. More from our Bhopal correspondent.
Shri Chauhan said that the opposition parties, including Congress, spoke in its manifesto to implement agricultural reforms. Terming the protest of opposition parties as their dual character, the Chief Minister said that all these parties have been supporting the implementation of agricultural reforms from time to time.
यूपीए के समय 2009 से 2014 तक आपने 2,06,000 करोड़ रुपए की कुल खरीदी की थी, लेकिन जब से प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी है 4,95,000 करोड़ रुपए की खरीदी की है, 240% की वृद्धि हुई है। ये मैं धान की बात कर रहा हूँ।
On the issue of contract farming, Shri Chauhan said that the farmers will get better prices for their produce. He said that agriculture sector cannot be made profitable with the old laws.
निश्चित तौर पर केवल पुराने कानूनों से आप खेती को लाभ का धंधा नहीं बना सकते। अब देखिए, अभी कोरोना काल आत्मनिर्भर भारत का मंत्र दिया प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने, और 1 लाख करोड़ का एग्रो इंफ्रा फंड देश के किसानों को दिया, जिसमें से 7,000 करोड़ से ज्यादा मध्य प्रदेश को मिलेंगे।
Shri Chauhan said that instead of changing the new agricultural law, there is need to properly explain the law to farmers. Pooja P. Vardhan, AIR News, Bhopal.
The Bharat Bandh call given by the farmers' unions evoked a mixed response in Maharashtra, with some pockets of the state participating in the Bandh. While some protesters did try to stop a train in Buldhana district and block the Mumbai-Agra highway in the morning, the authorities swiftly took action to restore normalcy. More from our Mumbai correspondent.
Barring a few protest rallies across some districts, the Bharat Bandh call did not evoke much response from citizens of Maharashtra. While major cities like Mumbai, Nagpur, Pune and Aurangabad, already reeling under the pressure of lockdown, did not participate in the strike, some districts like Ahmednagar, Yavatmal, Nanded, Palgad and Latur did witness shutdown. Even though the Agricultural Produce Market Committee, that is APMC markets, remained closed across most part of the state, supply of milk and essential services functioned normally. In Mumbai, buses, cabs and trains were running as usual, while all shops, restaurants and commercial establishments remained open. There was no disturbance in the operation of banks and stock exchanges. Television and movie shootings were not hampered. Neither was there any impact on airlines. Nisha Rani, AIR News, Mumbai.
Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar has attacked the opposition parties for their support to Bharat Bandh against farm laws, alleging that confusion is being spread among farmers about the legislations. Talking to reporters in New Delhi today, the minister accused the opposition of misleading farmers on new farm laws. He said the opposition parties are playing politics over it and asserted that the laws are in the interest of farmers.
विपक्षी दलों का पाखंड है, वो लोकतंत्र में पराजित हुए हैं और पराजित होने के बाद कहीं भी अवसर मिलता है तो उनको लगता है यही हमारा मौका है तो उसका लाभ उठाए। इसके सिवा कुछ भी नहीं है। अरे खुद शरद पवार ने एपीएमसी कानून यूपीए के कृषि मंत्री के तहत मॉडल कानून तैयार किया और सभी राज्यों को दिया। सभी राज्यों में से 10 राज्यों ने उसको स्वीकार भी किया। तब अच्छा था एपीएमसी का मॉडल कानून, और आज अगर हम करते हैं तो बुरा है। ऐसा कैसा होगा?
Mr. Javadekar alleged that the Congress, NCP, DMK and other political parties are behaving hypocritically over the contract farming issue. The minister added that the Congress had mentioned the introduction of these laws in its manifesto. He assured the farmers that minimum support price will continue.
पंजाब में मुख्यतः किसानों को लगा कि इससे एपीएमसी समाप्त होगी और एमएसपी की रेजिम समाप्त हुई। मैं उनको आश्वस्त करना चाहता हूं कि देखो इस साल कानून लागू होने के बाद भी एपीएमसी चली, आपने धान बेचा, आपको एमएसपी मिली, तो एपीएमसी भी जीवित है, एमएसपी भी जीवित है और व्यवस्था चालू रहेगी। आगे भी कानून में कहाँ लिखा है कि एपीएमसी को ताला लगाएंगे? नहीं लिखा है, क्योंकि एपीएमसी चालू रहेगी, लेकिन एपीएमसी के बाहर बेचने की भी सुविधा रहेगी, इतना ही उस कानून में कहा है।
Paddy procurement for Kharif 2020-21 is progressing smoothly in the procuring states with purchase of over 344.86 lakh metric tons or LMT of paddy up to the 6th of this month against the last year corresponding purchase of 286.66 LMT. This is an increase of 22% over the last year. Out of the total purchase of 344.86 LMT, Punjab alone has purchased 202.77 LMT till the close of procurement season in the state on the 30th of November. This is 58.79% of the total procurement in the country. India has crossed a significant milestone in its fight against COVID. The national cumulative recovery rate has also further improved to 94.59% with recovery of nearly 91,79,000 people so far. With recovery of over 39,000 people in the last 24 hours, the number of daily recoveries continue to outnumber the new daily cases for the 11th consecutive day today. With 26,567 new daily cases, the number of daily cases have also registered a fall of over 19% from yesterday. The new daily positive cases have remained below the 50,000 mark for over a month now.
Over 10,26,000 COVID samples were tested in the country in the last 24 hours. With this, the cumulative testing figure has reached at around 14 crore 88 lakh. In Rajasthan, the total number of active cases of COVID-19 has come down to 21,000. At the same time, the recovery rate in the state has also increased to 91.78%. Our Jaipur correspondent reports that the number of new cases of infection has also decreased in the state.
The number of new cases of infection in the state has come down to 1,604 today. At the same time, the number of people recovered from the infection remained 2,380. More than 100 cases have been reported in only 4 districts today. 465 new infections have been reported in Jaipur, 187 in Jodhpur, 140 in Ajmer, and 134 cases reported from Udaipur. The number of active cases in Jaipur has dropped to 9,000. The number of new patients in 9 districts has been less than 10. With the death of 20 people in last 24 hours, the total number of people who died from infection in the state has increased to 2,468. Jitendra Dwivedi, AIR News, Jaipur.
You're listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi stresses on need to ensure timely rollout of 5G technology to empower millions of Indians. No major impact of Bharat Bandh in the country as normal life remains unaffected. Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar accuses opposition parties of misleading farmers on new farm laws. National COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 94.59%. Government says massive production of COVID-19 vaccine will start once scientists give a green signal. In cricket, Australia register consolation win against India in final 2020 encounter in Sydney. Men in Blue clinch 3-match series 2-1. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle at AIR News Alerts.
To get accurate, reliable and wide coverage of news, tune into AIR News 24/7 and FM Gold and listen to the major bulletins at 8:30 a.m., 2 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. in English and 8 a.m., 2:30 p.m. and 8 p.m. in Hindi of half an hour each.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो खुद से वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे.
The government today said massive production of COVID-19 vaccine will start once scientists give the green signal. Briefing media in New Delhi this afternoon, Secretary in Health Ministry Rajesh Bhushan said all preparations have been made and an outline has been drawn to ramp up production of the vaccine and to make it available to each and every person in the shortest possible time. Serum Institute of India and Bharat Biotech have applied for emergency use approval. He added that the Prime Minister has interacted with all vaccine manufacturers and scientists. There are 6 vaccine candidates in clinical trial stage in India. The Secretary said some of the vaccine candidates may get licensed in the next few weeks. Preparatory activities for the rollout of the vaccine is being carried out by the central government in collaboration with states and union territories. He stressed that the vaccination cannot be a state's or the centre's responsibility and it has to be with the people's participation. He informed that the National Expert Group on Vaccine Administration for COVID-19 was constituted in August last year.
केंद्र सरकार ने 7 अगस्त को एक अन्य मैकेनिज्म भी गठित किया जिसको नेगवैक कहते हैं, नेशनल एक्सपर्ट ग्रुप ऑन वैक्सीन एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन फॉर कोविड-19। नेगवैक का जो मैंडेट है वो है कि पॉपुलेशन ग्रुप्स को प्रायोरिटाइज करना, प्रोक्योरमेंट और इन्वेंट्री मैनेजमेंट पर सरकार को परामर्श देना, वैक्सीन का चुनाव कैसे किया जाए, वैक्सीन डिलीवरी कैसे की जाए और जिन लोगों को वैक्सीन दी गई उनका ट्रैकिंग मैकेनिज्म क्या हो, इसके बारे में सरकार को जानकारी देना।
A visit is being organized for foreign heads of missions in India to Hyderabad tomorrow. Sources said more than 60 heads of missions are being taken to leading biotech companies in Hyderabad, Bharat Biotech and Biological E. This is the first such visit and it will be followed by visits to other facilities in other cities. India has been contributing significantly to global efforts against COVID-19 pandemic. There is a lot of interest in India's vaccine development efforts. India is the world's largest vaccine manufacturer.
Britain began rolling out the COVID-19 vaccine developed by Pfizer and BioNTech from today. A 90-year-old grandmother, Margaret Keenan, has become the first person in the world to receive the Pfizer COVID-19 vaccine outside of a trial following its rapid clinical approval. The mass inoculation will fuel hope that the world may be turning a corner in the fight against a pandemic that has crushed economies and killed more than 1.5 million. The News Services Division of All India Radio brings glimpses of the year that was in our special series Year Ender 2020. COVID-19 pandemic has been the biggest story of the year and India has seen a fight back against the disease under the dynamic leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. When the unprecedented corona pandemic engulfed the world, it threw a challenge not only to medical science but also to humanity as a whole. While science got busy in the twin task of curing the patients with whatever information available about the virus, the humanity was forced to take care of itself with minor aberrations. And the term Corona Warriors came about. Here is more from our correspondent.
1,58,96,093. This is the number of Corona Warriors in India who did their best to help the 130 crore Indians in their struggle against the pandemic. Apart from doctors, they include nurses, ward boys, lab staff, ambulance drivers, sanitation workers, and last but not the least, those who performed the last rites of the dead. Even early phase of social stigma for some of these COVID warriors didn't deter them from their duties towards the humanity. The civil defense volunteers and home guards ensured that those in isolation don't go without food or medicine. The police became humane, showing its different face by helping the people in need. The neighborhood grocery shop owner continued to serve the localities. The pandemic story is not just limited to them. It is also about school teachers who took risk and went out to distribute ration to the poor across the country. Asha and Anganwadi workers, panchayats, were also out to serve the people in need. Then there were lakhs of other Samaritans who on their own went out looking for the hungry and needy to help. A grateful nation led by Prime Minister Narendra Modi paid tribute to these Corona warriors in his address to the nation on Independence Day.
इस कोरोना के कालखंड में लक्षावधि कोरोना वॉरियर्स, चाहे डॉक्टर हो, नर्सिंग हो, सफाई कर्मी हो, एम्बुलेंस चलाने वाले लोग हो, उन लोगों ने इतने लंबे समय तक जिस प्रकार से सेवा परमो धर्मः इस मंत्र को जी करके दिखाया है, ऐसे सभी कोरोना वॉरियर्स को मैं नमन करता हूं.
Nilima Sharad Shingde, senior nursing supervisor at AIIMS New Delhi, says she could not even hug her kids when she returned home from duty.
When we came home after duty from hospital, we could not even hug our kids. We isolated ourselves and next day again leave for duty. The pandemic demanded that we sacrifice those emotions. This is the demand of this profession.
Words don't do justice to the virus. It is not a simple virus that afflicts and then disappears. This one is different. It has brought the world to its feet, but it has also brought humanity together. Naseem Naqvi, AIR News, New Delhi.
The Health Minister, Dr. Harshvardhan, has said India is steadfast in its reaffirmation of the commitments made at the Nairobi summit to work towards ending all maternal deaths, fulfilling unmet needs for family planning, and reducing gender-based violence. The timeline for achieving these targets has been stipulated at 2030. The minister was addressing the Inter-Ministerial Conference by Partners in Population and Development through video conference today. In Kerala, the first phase of local body elections today witnessed 72.56% voter turnout. In the first phase, 5 districts went to polls. Alappuzha district recorded the highest polling percentage of 77.11% and Thiruvananthapuram the lowest with 69.61%. The second phase is scheduled on the 10th of this month and the third phase of local polls will be held on the 14th of this month. Counting will take place on the 16th of this month.
India and Qatar today decided to create a special task force to further facilitate investments by Qatar Investment Authority into India. The decision was taken during a telephonic conversation between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Emir of Qatar Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. During the talks, the Prime Minister also resolved to explore Qatari investments in the entire energy value chain in India. Both the leaders discussed the robust cooperation between both countries in the fields of investment flows and energy security and reviewed recent positive developments in this regard. The leaders agreed to remain in regular touch and looked forward to meeting in person after the normalization of the public health situation caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. Later in a tweet, Prime Minister Modi said that Qatar is a vital pillar of India's energy security and a valued source of FDI. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Home Minister Amit Shah have congratulated Invest India, the National Investment Promotion and Facilitation Agency of the central government, for winning the 2020 United Nations Investment Promotion Award. The award has been given by the United Nations Conference on Trade and Development.
India and China are working for further de-escalation of the border situation in eastern Ladakh, and both sides will have consultations to determine specific arrangements for the next round of talks. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Hua Chunying, in response to a question today, said India and China have been in communication through diplomatic and military channels on the border issue. Without giving details as to what is delaying the next round of talks, she said, based on the implementation of current consensus, both sides will have consultations to determine specific arrangements for further talks. The United States has imposed financial sanctions and a travel ban on 14 senior Chinese officials over their alleged role in Beijing's disqualification of Hong Kong's elected opposition legislators last month, prompting China to say it will retaliate. According to the U.S. State Department, the sanctions were imposed yesterday against 14 vice chairpersons of the National People's Congress Standing Committee, the top decision-making body of the Chinese legislature. The sanctions ban the 14 individuals and immediate members of their families from traveling to the U.S., and any assets the officials might have there will be blocked. Americans and their companies will be banned from dealing with them. In a statement, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said Beijing's assault against Hong Kong's democratic processes has gutted its legislative council, rendering the body a rubber stamp devoid of meaningful opposition.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar spoke to Afghanistan Foreign Minister Mohammad Hanif Atmar today. Dr. Jaishankar appreciated the update on the peace process. They discussed bilateral development cooperation and agreed to remain in close touch. Army Chief General M.M. Narvane will visit the United Arab Emirates, UAE and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia starting tomorrow. During the visit, he will be meeting his counterparts in senior military leadership of these countries. The visit is historic in the sense that it will be the first time an Indian Army Chief is visiting the UAE and Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
The 260th Army Service Corps Day is being celebrated today. Army Chief General M.M. Naravane and all ranks of Indian Army extended their greetings to all ranks of Army Service Corps on the occasion. The oldest and the largest administrative service of the Army, the Army Service Corps is mainly responsible for provisioning, procurement and distribution of supplies and petroleum products to the Army, Air Force, Navy and other paramilitary forces. The centre has taken several steps to develop the infrastructure in the aviation sector in the Northeast. Talking to AIR News, Regional Executive Director Northeast of Airport Authority of India, M. Suresh, said that efforts are on to operationalize 10 unused airports. He said the new air terminal in Guwahati will be completed in March 2022, which would have 14 million passengers handling capacity per year.
Airport Authority having total 12 operational airports and 10 non-operational airports. We are planning to put the non-operational airport under RCS scheme of Government of India. Mostly Greenfield airport also we are developing under RCS. Rupsi and Haulanki. We're having the heliport also in the northeastern state. In Assam there are 3 number of heliports to be developed. Arunachal there are 6 numbers of heliports, and Manipur around 5 number of heliports we are planning to develop with the partnership with the state government and Pavanens.
The historical fort cities of Gwalior and Orcha in Madhya Pradesh have been named in the list of World Heritage Cities by UNESCO. Niti Aayog Vice Chairman Rajiv Kumar said in a tweet that Orcha means hidden palace, and true to its name, this majestic city is one of the hidden treasures of the country. He said Orcha was the capital of the Bundel Kingdom in the 16th century. Key domestic indices today continue their rally to hit fresh lifetime highs even as the global cues were negative. The BSE Sensex achieved 45,500 mark, while the NSE Nifty ended near 13,400 level for the first time. A report from the Business World.
Sensex climbed 182 points, or 0.4% to settle at 45,609. The NSE Nifty 50 index also surged 37 points, or 0.28% to settle at 13,393. In the foreign exchange market, the rupee appreciated 37 paise and settled at 73 rupees and 53 paise against the US dollar. And in intraday deals, Brent crude prices were trading around $48.60 per barrel. Arjun Chaudhary for AIR News.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital will experience moderate fog with temperature varying between 10 and 27 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have partly cloudy sky. Temperature will vary between 18 and 35 degrees Celsius. In Chennai, the temperature will hover between 22 and 31 degrees Celsius. Kolkata will have a minimum temperature of 18 degrees Celsius and a maximum of 29 degrees. Srinagar will have generally cloudy sky with light rain. Temperature will hover between 2 and 10 degrees Celsius. In Jammu, minimum temperature will be 12 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be 20 degrees Celsius. Leh will experience light snow. The minimum temperature will be -4 degrees Celsius while the maximum will be 2 degrees. Gilgit will have a generally cloudy sky with temperature hovering between 1 degree Celsius to 6 degrees. Muzaffarabad will have thunderstorm with rain. The temperature will move from 6 to 14 degrees Celsius. In Dehradun, the temperature will hover between 11 and 26 degrees Celsius. It is expected to have partly cloudy sky. In cricket, host Australia took a consolation win against India by 12 runs in the final 2020 match in Sydney this evening, as the men in blue clinched the 3-match series 2-1. After setting a victory target of 187 runs, Australia restricted the visitors to 174 for 7 in the stipulated 20 overs. For India, skipper Virat Kohli was the highest scorer with 85 runs off 61 balls. For the host, Mitchell Swepson was the most successful bowler, bagging 3 wickets. Earlier, riding on Matthew Wade's impressive knock of 80 runs, Australia posted 186 for 5 in 20 overs. The visitors had elected to field against Australia after winning the toss. On Sunday, India defeated Australia by 6 wickets in the second 2020 match at Sydney. India had also won the opening T20 International on Friday in Canberra by 11 runs. The first of the 4 test matches will start on the 17th of this month in Adelaide. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi stresses on need to ensure timely rollout of 5G technology to empower millions of Indians. No major impact of Bharat Bandh in the country as normal life remains unaffected. Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar accuses opposition parties of misleading farmers on new farm laws. National COVID-19 recovery rate improves to 94.59%. Government says massive production of COVID-19 vaccine will start once scientists give green signal. In cricket, Australia registered consolation win against India in final 2020 encounter in Sydney. Men in Blue clinched 3-match series 2-1. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.